over by President Muhammadu Buhari. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed, who briefed State House correspondents at the end of the meeting, said the 2020 finance bill was meant to support the 2021 fiscal year budget. The minister assured that the bill will not lead to an increase in taxes because the situation in the country does not warrant an increase in taxes.
VAT remains at 7.2%. So, and I gave an example of the changes that we're making in the tax law. In the last Finance Bill 2019, we reduced taxes from 30% to 20% for enterprises that have turnover of between 25 million to 100 million. And we also moved taxes from 30% to 0% for enterprises that have turnover of 25 million and below, which means they pay no taxes. What we're doing in the Finance Bill 2020 is to further remove the education tax of 2% for that lower category of enterprises that have turnover of 25 million and below. So when we say incremental, it means gradually making changes. So the changes could be up or down. But for now, with the economic slowdown, our assessment is this is the time to cut down on taxes, to not increase taxes at all, and also to not increase levies.
The presidency has expressed regrets over the absence of its representatives from a meeting of South stakeholders scheduled for yesterday in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, while attributing the development to an emergency meeting of the National Security Council held at the Presidential Villa Abuja on the same day. It said a new date for the meeting would be fixed after due consultation. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Gaba Shehu, disclosed this in a statement. Governors and leaders of the South region have demanded an unreserved apology from the presidency for abruptly aborting the meeting. Shehu explained that members of the presidency's delegation to the meeting were set to proceed to Port Harcourt for the meeting until they were directed to stay back and attend the emergency security meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. He noted that the president was still committed to hearing from leaders and youths from the region. South leaders had demanded an unreserved apology from the presidency for abruptly cancelling a stakeholders meeting scheduled to hold in Port Harcourt yesterday. A 7-man panel of the Supreme Court has affirmed Doye Diri as the duly elected governor of Bayelsa State. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Sylvester Nguta, the Apex Court dismissed the 6 appeals filed against the governor and his deputy, Lawrence Ewuru Jakpo. The dismissed appeals were filed by Alliance for Democracy, Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party, Labour Movement, and Accord Party. Justice Nguta, in his judgment, predicated the dismissal of the appeals on the withdrawal of the 6 appeals by lawyers of the appellants. Reacting to the court ruling, Governor Diri expressed hope that the judgment marks an end to all forms of litigation against his emergence as governor.
My reaction is what I've said over the period leading to the Supreme Court judgment, and it has been that as a state, we do not need all of these distractions. As a state, we are one state that the brotherhood should be predominant, and that after elections, particularly when a governor has taken the oath of office, we expected everybody to support and bring their ideas on board for Bayelsa to succeed, for Bayelsa to grow, for Bayelsa to be prosperous. We have tagged our administration as an administration of prosperity. And so today marks the end of litigations. Constitutionally,
Governor Diri was sworn in on February 14, a day after the Supreme Court sacked the former governor-elect of Bayelsa State, David Leon, and his deputy, Bill Barakuma Degi Eremeyor. A Kaduna State High Court has adjourned for continuation of hearing of the trial of the embattled leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, and his wife Zinat. At the resumed hearing on the matter, 2 witnesses from the Nigerian army were presented before the court by their counsels. After making their submissions, they were cross-examined by the defense counsel, Femi Falana. Speaking to newsmen at the end of the court sitting, counsel to El Zakzaki, Femi Falana, kicked against the consistent closure of roads against traffic in the Kaduna state capital whenever the trial of El Zakzaki comes up.
Trial commenced today, and two witnesses were taken, and so the trial will continue tomorrow. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. But we would like to appeal to the authorities in Kaduna, both the government and the security forces, that since our clients are not being brought to court on that ground, we don't really need to block all roads leading to the court so that people can move and go about their normal business. Witnesses have been discharged, so they will continue tomorrow. Well, I think they say I have about 16. Yeah.
16 outstanding.
Yeah, about 16 outstanding. No, they gave evidence about the operation of the military operation that lasted between the 12th and the 14th of December 2015, and the role played by each of them. We just want to see how far we can go tomorrow.
El Zakzaki and his wife have been in detention since December 2015 following clashes between members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria and the Nigerian army in Zaria, Kaduna State. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the arrest of the former chairman of the defunct pension reform tax team, Abdul Rashid Maina, adjudged to have jumped bail over his 2 billion naira money laundering trial. Justice Okon Abang gave the order in a ruling in which he also revoked the bail earlier granted the fleeing defendant. He ordered all security agencies in the country to arrest Maina wherever he may be found and produce him in court without delay. The judge also ordered that the defendant's trial would proceed in his absence, pending when the defendant would be produced in court. Justice Okon Abang also fixed November 23 for minor surety Senator Ali Ndume to appear in court to show cause why he should not be remanded in prison and forfeit his 500 million naira bail bond pending when he would be able to produce the defendant. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has continued to react to the defection of Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi to the All Progressives Congress APC. This time, Governor Wike accused Umahi of allocating votes to President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2019 presidential election. The governor said this in reaction to comments by his Ebonyi State counterpart, who earlier accused Governor Wike of hijacking the PDP structure at the national level. Governor Wike claimed that Governor Umahi exposed himself when he said he delivered some percentage of votes to President Buhari in 2019.
All of us are aware that Governor Umahi had been romancing with the APC for long. We had a meeting with the governors of the PDP. Governor Umahi in that meeting, to the surprise of every governor, came out openly in the virtual meeting. So look, yes, there's nothing anybody can do, can stop me. You don't need to come and see me. Yes, I promised President Buhari I was going to give him 35%, 40%. I was shocked in my life. I didn't know that people never voted in Ebonyi. It was my first time I knew that votes were allocated, that Governor Umahi presided over allocation of votes. Who gave what percentage or who last night? He wants to run for presidency. He wants to run for president of Nigeria, which he has a right. But he cannot threaten anybody that if they don't give you this will happen. And I challenge him to a debate. And I will tell him, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be a president. And nobody's God to say who will be president or who will not be president. It's God. But the point everybody's saying, when did you consult the Harez and Dibu? When did you consult the leadership of the Southeast People Democratic Party?
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, his part, also slammed his Ebonyi State counterpart, Dave Umahi, for calling him a dictator who controls the structure of the People's Democratic Party. Members of the People's Democratic Party Ebonyi National Assembly caucus have reacted to the defection of Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The lawmakers said no federal lawmaker in Ebonyi State is following the governor by leaving the PDP for APC. Briefing newsmen at the National Assembly, spokesperson for the group, Senator Sam Egu, maintained that they remain proud card-carrying members of the PDP. Egu said not a single member of the PDP Ebonyi caucus of the National Assembly is defecting to APC. You're listening to the World News at 10 and today, 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
And we're back.
You're still listening to the World News at 10 on today, 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. Welcome back now to the rest of the bulletin. Governor Wike says he has no regret proscribing the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and Rivers State due to his belief in the unity of Nigeria. Governor Wike said Nigerians must at all times rise to protect and defend the interests of the country and not allow parochial, sentimental politics to destroy the country. The governor stated these when the delegation of Coalition of Northern Groups paid a solidarity visit to the Governor House, Port Harcourt. The governor said the NSAS protest was peaceful in the state until IPOB hijacked it and committed arson by killing 6 army officers, police officers, burned police stations, and courts.
Now, I woke up one early morning and one of my local governments have been completely destroyed. Not by NSAS, but by another group called IPOB, which even my colleagues, the governors of Southeast, have said, look, they have nothing to do with them. People were killed, policemen were killed, army people were killed, the courts were burned down. Now you tell me, as a sitting governor, I should fold my arms and say, look, it doesn't matter. No, nobody does that. And I will not do that. And that's why we came out with the executive order proscribing it, even though the federal government and the courts have declared them as terrorists, but formally in our own state, and which no state has done it. I have no regrets.
The people of Rumaolu community in Obiapo local government area of Rivers State have faulted the petition by members of Amewule family in Umbodo Alu community in Ikwere local government area of the state over the ownership of a landed property. The Amewule family in the petition to President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Wike, and Chief of Defense Staff signed by Fabulous Amewule had pleaded for an order removing military personnel from their property and investigate alleged brutality and invasion by the army. Amewule, in an interview with our correspondent, alleged that some men in military uniform stormed the site and laid siege on the land.
Not too long ago, one early morning like that, they called me in my site, in my office, that soldiers have invaded my place. They laid siege, shooting, destroying everything. They have scattered away a lot of properties. I don't know when the army has taken over a court process. There was an order over the place. I took the matter to court. They caused me a lot of destruction, carried the caterpillars that are working in my site, took a lot of things, kidnapped my workers, without boy shooting, and they insisted that they can't leave the place unless the GOC give order. The land is not in dispute. Some people just only encroach into my land. I took them to court. That is just all. So I don't know where this will come from. A kind of that got from some criminal element from Romawalo. They want to come and take over my land.
The reaction to the allegations, the spokesman of Rumaolu community, AM's Chijoke, said the claims by the Amewule family are false and are geared at misleading the general public.
What they normally do, land grabbers, whenever they come to a place, they grab it and they will deceive the people of the community that they have the backing of IG, the current IG and the former IG, and which is completely lie. Like them involving the military men is an act of content. How would they involve a security man? Him involving the military is act of content.
Meanwhile, Rivers State Commissioner of Police Joseph Mukan has intervened in the dispute over a parcel of land between some members of Amewule family in Alu and the people of Rumaolu community in Obiapo local government area of the state. CP Mukan, who addressed a delegation from Rumaolu led by Eze Samuel Inyegwa, advised the parties to devise peaceful means of resolving the issue as the command commences an investigation into the matter. The leader of the delegation, Eze Samuel Inyegwa, told newsmen that they do not share a boundary with Amewule's family.
Like that, Rumaolu has been a peace-loving community. For that, we don't have anything to do with them because we are not sharing boundary with them. I know that they are not cultured. If they are cultured, they could have realized a traditional stool is never something that somebody from any place can even intervene to the community that owns the right. And there is a procedure to that traditional stool, and there is a name tagged to the stool. In every community, it is like that.
On their part, Stephen Iyegwa and Williams Emmanuel maintain that they will resist any attempt for any individual or group to take over their inheritance. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said the Nigerian Army is a professional army who will never operate outside the rules of engagement. Buratai said this when he received members of the House of Representatives Committee on Army at the Army headquarters. This follows the report by CNN on the shooting of an independent investigation carried out on the shooting incident involving the Nigerian Army and peaceful #EndSARS protesters at the Lekki toll gate. The video documentary, which is currently circulating on social media, shows Nigerian soldiers shooting directly at #EndSARS protesters despite series of denials by the Nigerian authorities. On the foreign scene now, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said that cars powered by diesel and petrol will not be sold in the country by 2030. This decision, according to BBC, is part of what Johnson calls a green industrial revolution to tackle climate change and create jobs in industries such as nuclear energy. He said the plan is to produce enough offshore wind to power every home in the UK, quadrupling how much it produces to 40 gigawatts by 2030 and supporting up to 60,000 jobs. Boris added that the green industrial revolution will make homes, schools and hospitals greener, warmer and more energy efficient, including a target to install 600,000 heat pumps every year by 2028. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the revolution will help developing cutting-edge technologies and making the City of London the global centre of green finance. Elsewhere, the coronavirus vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech appears to protect 94% of adults over 65 years old. More data released from their ongoing phase 3 trial suggests it works equally well in people of all ages, races, and ethnicities. The company said they will now apply for authorization for emergency use of the jab in the U.S. The findings are based on 2 doses given to more than 41,000 people around the world. Last week, Pfizer and BioNTech published preliminary data showing the vaccine offered 90% protection against COVID-19 and there were no safety concerns. This was followed by impressive data on another vaccine made by U.S. company Moderna, suggesting nearly 95% protection. On entertainment, U.S. rapper Lil Wayne has been charged in Florida with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon over an incident dating back to last year, 2019, in a federal offense that could see him sentenced to up to 10 years in prison. The 38-year-old artist, whose real name is Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., was found to be carrying a gun and bullets when police searched a private plane in Miami in December last year. The Miami Herald reported that Lil Wayne, who has a home in South Florida, admitted that the gold-plated pistol found in his luggage was his. He told police the weapon had been given to him as a Father's Day gift. Police also found what was believed to be cocaine, marijuana, ecstasy, heroin, painkillers, and more than $25,000 in cash. But the sole federal weapons charge filed in federal court in Miami stems from the fact that Lil Wayne was convicted more than a decade ago on a separate firearms charge. In sports, Minister of Youth and Sports Development Sunday Dare has expressed doubts over the suitability and competence of Super Eagles coach Gena Raw and threatened to do what he said is the needful. Dare, who made this known in a tweet today, complained about the low performance of the Eagles in the last 2 matches of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Eagles played a goalless draw against Sierra Leone at the Siaka Stevens Stadium, Freetown, yesterday, failing to redeem their image after they squandered a 4-0 lead to draw 4-4 in the first leg played at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Edo State on Friday. And now to end the news, there is a summary of the major stories. The Federal Executive Council has approved the 2020 Finance Bill for subsequent transmission to the National Assembly. Governor Yasamiki has accused Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi of allocating votes to President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2019 presidential election. We also told you that the Chief of Army Staff, Tuko Buratai, has downplayed a report by CNN accusing the military of shooting and NSAS protesters. And on the foreign scene, you heard that the United Kingdom has announced their plan to phase out diesel and petrol cars by 2030. That was the news as edited by Victor Aziama. For comments and inquiries, please call 0815 341 8657 or 0814 434 3502. Send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. Thank you for listening. Good evening. I am Kala Dakarubatsubo.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
I don't know what put that. Come on, put that down now. I go match on that. Oh yeah, give me that thing. Come on, give me the phone. Give me that thing. Oh yeah, shoot that police.
Insecurity has become a common factor in our general language within the Nigerian space, no doubt. Not only has it become a threat, it has begun taking diverse dimension we cannot ignore. A solution we seek. A desire to stop the trend is imminent.
Waste up 2 seconds.
God, hey, Jesus. Straight bullet, though, what kind of country is this? Hey boy, I just said to go and buy something, what kind of thing is straight bullet from well? I'm finished though.
Directly or indirectly, we all have lost people, friends, family, or acquaintances as a result of insecurity. But is security only the job of the government? No, security is not one man's job alone. Every individual in the society has a role to play in order to achieve a secure society. We urge citizens and indigents to adhere and respect the laws of the state, report irregular activities to the authorities, and we implore security agencies to carry out their duties as stipulated by the Constitution and not infringe on the rights of citizens.